Good day, everyone. My name is Jeff King. I am the sales leader for mid-market here at Inflow Communications. Today, we've got a great tech partner with us that's going to review from setup to success, turning on the phone for Microsoft Teams. Fantastic. We also have two upcoming webinars in October. One is by Genesis, which is admin training, holiday scheduling, and routing, which is very appropriate for what we've got coming up. And then October 17th, Beyond the Metrics, Strategies to Reverse CX Decline and Build some Brand Loyalty. All right, let's get right into it. For those of you not familiar with Inflow, we'll go over a little bit of that. We'll turn it over then to our BCM1 team. They'll walk us through everything that we need to know from a team's perspective. And then we'll make sure and leave some time for Q&A and how to contact us after. For those of you not familiar with InflowCX, really we're a consultant, but we help organizations, one, evaluate, two, deploy, and then three, optimize everything that they have to do with their customer engagement. We've got a little over 200 employees from the Inflow side, a little over 400 employees when we include our parent company, Amplex, a little over 2,500 customers that we work with on a daily basis. We've done installs all over the United States and really all over the world, and would love to have the opportunity to speak with you and your customers about that if needed. For us, our customers range in areas from anywhere from, technology, retail, hospitality, real estate, healthcare, finance and insurance, and on the BPO side. As you can see, just like everybody else, we have a great list of customers that we can use for not just as a blueprint for what you might do, but also it shows what we've done in the past in these segments, really to ensure that we're doing the right thing for all of these folks. We can do the right thing for your customers as well. Today, we've got a great partner with us, as I mentioned earlier, BCM1. We work with companies that excel in what they do, from a CCaaS perspective, from a UCaaS perspective, and from an entire contact center ecosystem. That allows us to evaluate independently and then provide the best box for you. We do not put you in a box. We allow you to tell us what things you need in that box, and then we go find it. And if need be, we keep increasing the box for you. So that is our goal, is to make sure that you have everything that you need. And to do that, we have to partner with some of the best in the industry, and we're doing that here today. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Andrew and Michael and let them start to walk us through our success for setup. Guys?
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thanks for those who attended the call. I'm Andy Stenke, and I have Michael Hawkins with me today. I'll start out this wonderful session and get you guys excited to talk about Microsoft Teams and how to get you there. And then I'll hand it off to Mr. Hawkins. Before we do the topic of the day, I think it's important that you guys know a little bit about us, who we are, and why we feel like we're experts on this specific topic. All right, so as you can see on the screen, we are a leading global provider for next-gen communications and managed services. What that really means is anything that touches voice, critical infrastructure, internet services from a global perspective. We've been doing and sourcing and managing that business for clients in the mid-market and enterprise space for over 30 years. Not necessarily a household name, but we are, I would call us an expert in making the complex simple and working with a leading provider such as Microsoft to provide those services to all kinds of clients. And as you can see just by the numbers here, again, over 30 years in business, very heavy on voice, various different verticals that we have expertise in, truly global from a brick and mortar office perspective, not just a serviceability perspective for our products. And lastly, as you can see up there on that 89.1% net promoter score, that's a customer service third-party survey for clients and partners out there, that anytime you work with us, whether that's a service delivery deployment or a troubleshooting incident, basically they ask you how likely you are to recommend us to your friends and family. And a lot of people say over 8 out of 10 times, which is pretty awesome. We're excited about that. Well above the industry average, and actually above Harley Davidson. So people like to come to us for Microsoft services as opposed to buying a Harley. Why we're relevant in the voice conversation in Microsoft. So we started and stepped into the Microsoft world back about 9 years ago, primarily licensing. We did the very first partner Skype for Business deployment, which was an awful experience, but we learned from that. And we kind of said, you know what, this is a world for us. Let's just do it better than what we did the first time. So we went out and we acquired a couple different platforms. The biggest platform and the most relevant one to Microsoft is a company we acquired called Pure IP. If you do have Microsoft and you look into um, your Operator Connect Admin Center, you will see Pure IP, original launch partner for Microsoft, covering the globe with 50 countries for PSTN replacement, extensibility services to reach 137 total countries. So we are a global supporter of Microsoft and other cloud-based platforms. Today, we are going to focus on Microsoft. We're going to focus on how to get you guys set up a team phone system and why that you should consider Teams for your primary phone platform. I am going to hand it off to Michael to cover most of that, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support you. Mr. Hawkins, I'm going to take it from
Awesome.
here.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. So before we dive into how to connect Microsoft to the PSTN, let's take a look at a little bit of the framework that we've got around this to start with. I think everyone understands that Microsoft is one of the premier players as far as unified communications, has been now for 5 years. This isn't the same phone system that they first introduced. They've continued to make iterations and improvements in both features, functionality, and reliability. So I think that's worth mentioning. And they continue to be in that Gartner Magic Quadrant, leading the pack year over year. Let's see if I can get my slides to work. All right. So why are we here talking about this? I think it's good. Andy gave you an overview of the company as a whole, but when we come to talk to you about our experience and expertise in Microsoft, this helps explain a little bit why. So as Andy mentioned, we're one of the original launch partners for Microsoft Operator Connect. Since the inception of that program, we've worked very closely with Microsoft. We've been delivering Microsoft UC projects for over a decade now. And because of that relationship, one of the things that it's done is give us access to their technology advisory program. That technology advisory program is where people like myself and my peers get to go out to Microsoft and we get to talk with them about what our customers' experiences are, the things that they've got on the roadmap, the features that are coming, and what's working and what's not. It's a direct line to Microsoft that really helps us influence their products and increase our standing with Microsoft to help better deliver their solutions the best possible way for our customers. Andy, I know we also do a really good job with the co-sell, and I think you do a fantastic job of describing that. Would you mind jumping in there for 30 seconds or
Sure.
so?
Yeah, I talk to Microsoft daily. That's one of my primary roles within this company. And I find them to be very open, very supportive of us as a partner. And so if you are dealing with Microsoft, you have an account executive, you don't know who it is. All of those things are what we do. We kind of bridge the gap between Microsoft and us as an operator and a partner to you in enabling voice. We found it really powerful. Clients don't have to go at it alone. We're not competing against them. We're complementing a service that they provide. And a lot of clients just don't know who to go to and what to ask. And that's what we do. We kind of take Microsoft and we make them approachable. And hopefully, as you guys find today, provide a product that you'll find valuable.
Thanks, Andy. I just think it's so worth mentioning how powerful it is to have everyone facing the same direction, working towards the same goal, and we can help align that. All right, so let's take a look real quick at the BCM journey to Teams calling. I'd say the vast majority of our clients are probably investigating the Operator Connect path. That's where Microsoft's development is, their focus is, that's the future of the Teams product. But there are also scenarios where we may want to use direct routing. The nice thing is that BCM1/Pure IP, we can accommodate both of those even at the exact same time. It's all serviced via our Pure IP core, which is our serve platform, which allows us to connect to all of the different UC platforms that are out there, not just Teams, but WebEx, Zoom, etc. All of those services have enablement services with them to help you complete your journey So starting from that on-prem PBX and understanding how it's programmed, all the way to going live with your new UC platform, we have those enablement services. In addition, we also have some extensibility services. So where Microsoft's product doesn't quite fit, we can either do an SBC on-site, or for those non-Teams native devices that you may not want to fully replace, we do have a way to service those as well. And then, of course, because we're talking with contact centers, call recording, and compliance recording, that helps round out our application integrations. Just a quick little hit on the technical side for Operator Connect. The way that Microsoft requires all operators to connect is via the Microsoft Azure peering service. That's a global fabric that allows us to connect into different regions within the Microsoft Azure platform, which is where Teams lives. Inside of each one of those regions, we have 2 geographically distinct connections into each one of those, allowing us additional uptime, resiliency, and redundancy should there be an error on the client tenant or even within our own services. So it is a fully encrypted service as well. So everything that's sent between you and peer IP will be encrypted via TLS and SRTP. And then I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but as you can see, we've been working with Microsoft for a very long time. Those light blue data centers that you see there, or the light blue colors, those are our data centers. The ones in dark blue are the Azure on-ramps. So you can see we've aligned with the Microsoft footprint for many years and continue to build out in accordance with them. Okay, so we have a lot of people looking at adding dial tone to Teams. And one of the biggest drivers that we've seen for this has been Microsoft Copilot. So we're going to take a little bit of a different look at this for just a second. Once you get past the base Teams level and your Microsoft phone system licensing, you have a couple different options for additional services within that Teams ecosystem. And there's 2 distinct ones. One will always give you the exact same fixed output every single time, and that's the Microsoft Teams Premium license with its intelligent recap. That intelligent recap will give you a list of all of the notes that were in topics that were discussed during your meeting, as well as any action items and the person to which they're assigned. Now that's fantastic because right off the bat, I love that. I can be more present in meetings. I can listen to what people are saying and not have to try to take notes, record, and it really helps me be more involved in those conversations. Now, if I want to compare my Microsoft Teams Premium with that fixed output to something like Microsoft Copilot or Copilot for Microsoft 365, this is where the additional functionality comes in. So not only am I going to get that fixed output, but I can actually, using natural language, just ask my meeting questions. So let's say I had a conversation trying to understand the benefits and where there might be pitfalls for releasing a new product. I could very seriously just ask, hey, who's against this and who is for this? And it will give me a list based on that conversation. I could say, give me a list of pros and cons for each one of the topics that were discussed. And it helps organize those. So getting access to that information, organizing that information, all those things that transpire during the meeting that are sometimes lost, we now have a way to go back and interrogate again. And then on top of that, you're also going to get access to Microsoft or Copilot for M365, which allows you access to it inside of the different applications that you use all the time, such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, etc. So when I look at the AI landscape that's out there, we did some studies with clients. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see what employees try to extract from AI. And on the right-hand side, you'll see what businesses are trying to extract from AI. I think there was a lot of trepidation in the market when AI first hit, that this little teeny tiny 16% here on reducing headcount was going to be much larger than what it was. But the good news is the tasks that we perform are typically complex, and we're still at the infancy of AI. So rather than eliminating headcount, more companies are viewing it as a productivity enhancer. So how can I get the same amount of people to produce more work? And that has aligned nicely with what employees are trying to do. Because on the left-hand side, that's what we want. I'm kind of surprised to see the search at the very bottom there. I know if anyone's ever tried to go inside of Outlook and search for an email, that can be a very frustrating process. But being able to use things like Copilot and say, hey, I think I got an email from Andy Stanky. It was probably about a month ago, and it was around this topic. All of a sudden, that becomes a really powerful search tool and gets me to access to the information that I need immediately versus the search bar, which needs still a little bit of love from Microsoft, in my humble opinion. The other thing that people want to really do is save time, and Copilot helps with that a lot. Whether it's just taking bullet points and then creating an outline from a meeting, or getting over the blank page syndrome of trying to create a new document. It enables us to work faster and create higher quality work in the same amount of time. So, what does that look like? Well, not only has Microsoft done some pilots, but we as BCM have done an internal Copilot study as well. And we've taken these results and we've looked at them and analyzed them in the different areas where Microsoft Copilot works really well, and also some areas where it's still got some growth opportunities. So I'm not going to read all the percentages on the left-hand side, but the punchline is definitely on the right-hand side. And that's where we start talking about how much is Copilot worth to users. So 96% of people would at least be disappointed if they no longer had access to Copilot. 83%, or 4 out of 5 people, really don't want to go back to working without Copilot. And that last statistic of almost 50% of people would let access to Copilot influence their employment decisions. It's weird to say, but I fit strongly in that 47% category. Now that I've had access to this, I cannot go back. Now, that's around sales, that's around IT, HR, engineering, and marketing. And a lot of those are content-driven type activities. The neat thing about AI is it's a normalizer. It helps get you to a mean. Me, myself, I'm not very good at Excel. So I can use Copilot to help me be better at Excel. Now, what we've found is those users that are extremely proficient in their craft, they know exactly what they're doing within Excel. It's a normalizer, and it may actually slow them down just a touch. So while we found great value across sales, IT, HR, engineering, and marketing, our accounting departments really did not utilize Copilot in the same way that the other groups did. So a lot of growth opportunities on that, but ways to start utilizing Copilot within your organization for immediate benefit right now. Okay, this is probably the coolest piece of information that I'm going to give you today. So once you've got Copilot up and running, once you've got Copilot inside of and dial tone within Teams, you can do some pretty crazy stuff. You can interrogate data in ways that we've never done before. So Copilot for sales, for example. I see a logo in there that's HubSpot. That's a CRM that a lot of people use. Imagine instead of having to go to your HubSpot administrator, create a report, work with developers to try to extract something. I can sometimes, well, I don't know about your worlds, but for me, that's at least that could be a month-long process just to get a report created. And I have to hope that that's created the exact way and I'm getting the output that I want. Take that and juxtapose using Copilot to just be able to ask HubSpot, hey, I'd like to know how many of my customers have contracts that are coming due in the month of October. I'd like to know my top 5 customers who are consuming XYZ product. Take that, extrapolate it across all of those different logos that you see. There's a ton of data that businesses collect that we've never had access to be able to interrogate before. Now that we can just ask it normal questions and we don't have to have a developer between us and our data, it really gives us access to make informed business decisions about what's truly happening in our worlds. So with that, I want to give you 2 different videos. Now, I can't show Copilot live because it's got a lot of personal data, NPI, et cetera. So I had Microsoft create us 2 different videos. One that's going to highlight Copilot within Teams, as well as the PSTN calls. So let's take a look at that first one and see how different a customer service engagement can be by using Copilot.
With Copilot and Teams Phone, you can make and receive calls from your Teams app on any device and get real-time summarization and insight. Here, you're on a call with a teammate discussing the plans for an upcoming marketing event. During the call, Copilot can summarize key action items, owners, and deadlines discussed, so you don't have to worry about getting distracted by taking notes. Or you can use natural language commands, such as asking Copilot for suggestions on additional planning work streams you and your teammate should consider for the event you're planning. Copilot also works during PSTN calls. Here, you're on a PSTN call with a customer who is interested in learning more about your company's recent product announcements. With the help of Copilot, you can summarize the call, helping you stay focused and engaged during the conversation. Copilot can also curate a list of unresolved questions that came up during the call. The customer has some specific questions that require input from another subject matter expert in your organization. Using the Consult Then Transfer feature, you can chat with your colleague and confirm she's able to help the customer with their questions. Now, when you transfer the call to her, thanks to Copilot, she's able to get a summarized recap of your discussion and a list of the top questions raised by the customer, all in a matter of seconds. This saves you time you would have spent catching up and creates a better customer experience since the customer won't need to recap their questions. These scenarios are only a few examples of the many ways you can use Copilot during Teams calls, helping you spend less time on busy work and more time on connecting and collaborating with teammates, customers, and partners.
Awesome. So I think that really highlights how efficiently you can transfer information back and forth, how quickly you can do that. If you try to compare that to any other scenario where you put the customer on hold and try to transfer that vast amount of information quickly from one person to another, oftentimes things are missed or you're doing it in a very compressed fashion. By being able to use Copilot to summarize the call as well as the list of questions, it really helps increase that customer service from the customer's perspective. Now, the next piece that I'm going to show you is Copilot in Outlook. Whether it's a PSTN meeting or an all IP-based meeting like what we're doing here, everyone has probably had a conflict of meetings where they're unable to attend two at the same time. I want to show you a way where you can essentially have Copilot clone yourself.
Copilot in Outlook can help you prioritize your time and stay on top of meetings. Here, you've been invited to a meeting that conflicts with another meeting you're already attending. Clearly, you can only attend one. From the meeting invite, you can choose to RSVP with follow. Switching over to your calendar, you can see that you're now following this meeting. Once the meeting starts on Teams, the organizer will receive a notification to record the meeting because someone is following it. Now, after the meeting is done and the recording is ready, Copilot will notify you that the meeting recap is ready for you to review. You can then ask Copilot some questions about the meeting, like, summarize this meeting, or, are there any action items for me? That way you can stay on top of things as if you were present during the meeting.
Excellent. So, how nice would it be able to be able to clone yourself? And that's essentially what Copilot for Outlook is giving you the ability to do. You can attend multiple meetings at the same time and still ask natural language questions to it, like, hey, what are my action items? What was discussed? Are there any takeaways for me? And I think that's extremely powerful. So now that we've looked at a lot of the features, let's look at how BCM1 and Pure IP can give you some tips on best practices and how we go about approaching this. So it all starts with our cloud enablement and our signature discovery, design, and deploy methodology with additional day two services to help you continue your journey after you're already living in the platform. Let's break those down just a touch. We've got what we call our Reveal Discovery service, which we can actually go into your existing PBX, capture the data that's in there, create a discovery report, and then work with our designers and engineers to craft a design or cloud migration plan to get you from your current system over to Microsoft Teams without having to have an intimate knowledge of how the phone system is currently configured or programmed. That's a great benefit. Once we've got that information, we've also created a Kickstart program. Depending on the level of technical prowess that you guys possess and the level of comfort within the team's phone system, you may want a little Kickstart to get started, where we'll come in and we'll go ahead and configure Pure IP as your operator, set up a couple locations, do a test and turn up with up to 10 users so that you've got a nice template to continue building off of. And then that takes us into some of the other professional services that we have. So rather it's trying to understand, is my network ready for Teams? And am I able to pass this voice traffic across it, which is so critical to my organization? Or if the Kickstart doesn't get it quite done and you need additional professional services, we do offer effort-based statements of work. So we can go through and scope that out with you to where we'll do as much or as little as you would like us to. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning, for that ongoing love, care, and maintenance that's necessary to keep a system running at its peak performance, we do offer that day 2 support in both an incident management and user level for moves, adds, changes, and deletions. So with that, Andy, I think that summarizes the benefits of Microsoft Teams with dial tone or PSTN, some different use case scenarios to use it. And I'd love for you to take a couple seconds and either maybe we can answer some questions or review some of the case studies where we've helped customers solve some unique challenges.
Awesome, Mike. Exciting stuff. I do think I want to cover just one quick use case. I mean, it pretty much epitomizes the value that we provide. So we did talk a lot today about Microsoft Teams, which is obviously a hot topic for everyone out there with specificity around AI. But the core value for our company, BCM1 and Pure IP, is getting clients to cloud platforms and doing that with complex starting points or voice environments. So if we just look at the case study on the left there, major American university, this one was North American only, but still 30,000 DIDs. The client came to us around October 2022. They had been in proof of concept with a major provider for nearly a year to be able to do short code dialing with different phone system platforms that they had in place. They had CUCM, they had some Avaya contact center, they had some clients, some end users on WebEx and Teams already, and they were really struggling with that proof of concept to the tune of almost 1,000 hours of effort across 13 months nearly to be able to use. We kind of got into them from a business partner, similar to InflowCX, and we got on the phone with them at the end of October, and by June of the following year, 2023, we had solidified their business, primarily because of our ability to do multi-trunking complex routing and platform for single dial plans for clients. And then obviously the end goal was for this particular client to be on cloud platform, which is an expertise for us. So this is a huge case study for us. This is obviously not an everyday conversation, but these types of clients do come to us by the likes of Nestle, British Petroleum, Amazon, Willis. These types of clients are who we are working with today to get to cloud platforms, and that is overwhelmingly powered by Microsoft at this time. So we're eager to help out in any way. We will pause with about 1.5 minutes left to see if there's any questions out there, or to see if Jeff, you have anything you'd like to close out with.
I just asked for questions. If anybody has any, please put them in the chat and we'll get those answered either by the Inflow team or by our BCM1. If not, we will be sending out a gift card later today for participating in our registering and participating in our webinar today. So be on the lookout in your email for, it should be this afternoon, I believe. So yes. At this time, guys, I don't see any questions. Thank you so much for coming on, presenting, and really enlightening us on what Microsoft Teams can do from a phone perspective. That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
No problem. No questions mean we delivered all of the answers perfectly.
Yes,
so thank you, guys.
Again, thank you so much. Fantastic job. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.